Hello ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome to the new Whatif. What if Deku was the reincarnation of the sage of the sixth pass? I know what you're thinking. Damn, that's a long title. And I know, but it's just what if I've been wanting to make for a little while, not too long, and it popped in my head. I thought, you know what, now's a good chance. So if you're wondering how this is going to work, I'll explain it in the stories, but this Deku is going to be insanely OP, and it's just going to be a very fun what if to make. Other than that, I'm not going to drag on too long. If you do like the video, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on that notification bell so you do not miss another upload. If you hit the like button, it helps a lot more than you know. Get me to 20k subs. Check out my thumbnail artist down below. He made this thumbnail in 5 minutes because I was rushing him when he's on holiday, so I feel bad, but it's still decent for a 5-minute thumbnail. And join the Discord, check me out on Instagram, and other than that, guys, let's just get straight into this what if. The beginning is not even in the My Hero Academia universe. We'll now go to Hagoromo, the sage of the sixth pass, who is watching over as the reincarnation of his sons, Indra and Ashura, who are now named Sasuke and Naruto, are currently sealing his mother, saving the shinobi world. After seeing this happen, he thinks, maybe it's time for me to fully pass on. As he says this, he closes his eyes, and a strange relief spreads throughout his body as his spiritual body begins breaking apart and flies off into the sky. We now go back to Deku, who's just been born in the hospital, crying. He came out with skin very pale, not as pale as the stage of the sixth pass, but very, very pale. And he also has... Do I keep his orange hair? No. Did I say orange? He has his green hair, but as he was crying, a doctor attempted to give him a vaccine at the start. That's what they do in the My Hero Academia world. And as soon as the needle broke through his skin, Deku's eyes turned purple and his hair turned white, and he blew the doctor away. His eyes quickly returned to the normal green colour, and his hair returned to green. And they realised that this baby has a strong quirk, and it's rare for a baby to be born with a quirk this early. But they sedated Deku using a mask instead, and gave him all his vaccines. Now we're going to cut to Deku. He's roughly about 4, he's in his primary, and his quirk has not shown up again. But we now watch as his best friend Bakugo has awakened his quirk, and his explosions are being shown off. As Deku's watching his explosions, his eyes begin to burn and he begins to scream and cry. Bakugo rushes over to him. This is before everyone starts telling him he's amazing. He rushes over to Deku, his friend, and he's panicking. He looks at Deku's eyes and he jumps back afraid at first. Deku's eyes are now purple. They're running gone. And the nurse and the teachers go, "Oh wow, Deku, you awakened your quirk. Your mother said that you had signs of a quirk and your eyes turned purple, but to think that it awakened now, along with your best friend. I wonder what it could be. Knowing you two, I bet you'll both have amazing quirks." 1 second, guys, my order just went haywire. 1 second. There we go, guys. Bakugo goes, "Wow, Deku." I'm just going to say right now, Deku was just a fun nickname they've had for each other since they were kids. I don't mean useless. He goes, "Wow, Deku, you're working a quirk with me. I wonder what it's going to be." Deku goes, "My head." And he stands up. He says his vision feels weird, and they ask him what do they mean. He's like, "You can see everything like all around him." And they go, "Interesting. Deku has 20/20 vision, like 360 everything. He can see all around him." And it's quite incredible. And he also says that his eyes feel powerful. Bakugo runs in front of Deku, gets in front of Deku and sprints at him, saying, "Let's see how amazing they really are." He don't launch an explosion. He goes to push Deku. And Bakugo begins moving in slow motion for Deku. Deku moves that way quite easily. For everyone else, this was quite impressive that Deku moved at very quick speeds. And Bakugo nearly flew into the wall, but Deku ran at even faster speeds and caught him by his ankle. Deku realised that Bakugo felt insanely light for him, and he could see a weird energy coursing through Bakugo's body. And he sees it rushing towards his hand. He jumps backwards as Bakugo starts making little sparks. He goes, "Huh? How did you know I was going to make sparks?" Deku says, "I don't know." Of course, both Bakugo's mum and Deku's mum are called to their tracks evaluated. Mitsuki and Inku, who are best friends, show up together and they go, "Wait, you're here too?" Inku says, "Yeah, Deku's quirk awakened." And Mitsuki says, "So did Bakugo's." oh, their mothers are best friends, and so are the sons who are working their quirk at the same time. And that's going to be a story from their older. Inko laughs and says, yeah. As they're walking in, Mitsuki goes to Inko, didn't Deku's quirk awaken at birth? And she goes, yeah, but it quickly deactivated and he hadn't been able to use it since. I'm hoping now he'll be able to use it. And Mitsuki goes, huh, cool. When they walk in, Mitsuki goes, so it's his eyes. And Inko goes, oh, I'm gonna miss his pretty green eyes. Hearing his mother say this, Deku's eyes return back to green, and he goes, I can control it. And she goes, oh, good. But he says it feels more... Well, he said it feels more natural for his eyes to be like purple, and she goes, if it's what you want, baby, do it. Strawberry water, guys, best type of water. They begin going to the hospital, and Deku's looking at the world. He's seeing colours he's never seen before. Everything seems so vibrant. Everyone has this weird sort of energy into them. Very small, and this is chakra, by the way, but no one can use chakra. But Deku, looking at his own hands, he has that energy, but in an abundance. And begins hearing in the back of his head a screaming noise. This causes Deku to pass out, but his mother doesn't know he's passed out. She just fell asleep and nowhere there. We go to Deku, who's now in front of this weird beast that has 10 tails with a red eye, screeching at him. Deku screams and runs backwards, saying, what are you? It screams again, but Deku gets overwhelmed with a sense of bravery, and he puts his hand up and says, shut up! A shockwave shoots out of Deku's hand and pins this 10-tailed beast against the wall. This made it very docile, as we all know this to be the 10 tails, and under Hagoromo's control, it was very calm and tamed, and it now recognises the chakra that Deku just used. That is still Hagoroma, just in a smaller form. It becomes very docile like a pet, and begins to allow Deku to use his chakra again. When this happens, Deku enters his 10 tails form. This is like when Obito and Madara absorbed it. They get that weird skin colour, and they get somewhat scaly. And they get their oars. When this happens, Deku's mother nearly swears, and she goes, what is that? Deku says, I don't know. But he quickly figures out how to deactivate and returns to normal. His mother ends up stepping on it and rushes to the hospital, getting there 10 minutes before Bakugo does. And they explain. Deku gets his quirk evaluated. First reaction times. Deku's reaction time is off the charts. And they begin making Deku run laps. Deku does it. He easily breaks the world record for normal people running it. And he goes, is that the fastest you can go? Deku says, no. And he begins speeding up. At this point, Deku looks like the Flash. He's running in laps, leaving after images. And the doctor's just stunned. They then test out how much weight Deku could lift. He was lifting 10 tons with ease, and the doctor decided to leave it there. Next, they wanted to test out Deku's eyes. They asked Deku, has he noticed anything weird with his eyes? And he says, yes, I can see you through that window. And that was meant to be a one-way glass. And they go, interesting. And he also says, I can also do this. He puts his hand up, and unknown to Deku, he uses Almighty Push. He doesn't know what it's called. And he breaks the wall and the wall next to it, and he breaks an entire hole through the entire building. Shocking the doctor, saying, incredible. Deku then uses Almighty Pull and actually ends up repairing the wall. And he goes, huh, I can do it both ways. Anything else? And Deku says, I don't know. The doctor says, we're going to get you a sparring partner, Izuku Midoriya. And he goes, oh, okay, cool. In comes a doctor that can use a flame quirk, let's say. Not anywhere near as powerful as Endeavor, but he can still shoot weak blast, and if Deku doesn't manage to dodge it, he will just get a small burn. And he shoots at Deku. Deku does not at all dodge. He puts his hands up and he ends up absorbing the fire. Deku feels this power rush through his body, and he puts his hand back out. He shoots fire back 10 times stronger. If you're wondering what this isn't he can absorb abilities and shoot it back out. This is just Deku absorbing fire and his nature release, his fire release getting awakened, making him able to use fire jutsus. Seeing this, the doctor's impressed, but they decide to end the test there. And as Deku's leaving, Bakugo shows up. Mitsuki says, you got here quick. And she explains how Deku's skin colour changed and she panicked. And she goes, ugh, anyway, what's his quirk? After hearing this, after Inko explains it, Mitsuki goes, wow, he's going to be strong. And Inko goes, yeah, I know. We now have a time skip to roughly about halfway through Deku's last year. Him and Bakugo are still best friends, and with Deku keeping Bakugo in check, Bakugo doesn't really become a bully, but he does have that mouth in him, and all due to Bakugo always getting into fights, Deku gets into fights with him. Bakugo clearly recognises Deku as the strongest, but he always thinks, I'm still going to be the number one hero. Deku's still an All Might fanboy. But he never had the bullying of being quirkless, as everyone recognises him as the strongest in the class. But he's still kind, caring, but one thing, there was something weird about Deku. He seemed to have the wisdom of a 1,000-year-old man, easily acing his test, being able to give people life lessons, but at the same time, if you pissed him off, there was hell to pay. And Deku and Bakugo were going home. Bakugo was staying at Deku's house that night, but something was weird. Deku, when they got to his door, Deku's door was kicked open and he felt another presence. He also felt fear. Him and Bakugo rushed into the house to see it got ransacked, and there was 2 people there. One of them holding a knife to his mother, and the other one putting stuff in the bag. They go, the kids are home, and they rush at Bakugo and Deku. One of them pulls out the other knife and attempts to stab Bakugo. Bakugo panics, but he manages to launch an explosion, burning this villain's face, and he begins screaming, "You bastards, you bastards, you bastards!" And he rushes at Deku this time. Deku, seeing his mother's pure fear, he's pissed. And before the knife can even reach Deku, Deku's eyes begin to glow a brighter purple, and his body gets absolutely destroyed, like blown backwards. Like, you know how oh my god, I forgot his name. How do I forget? Gojo, that's it. How when he blinked and he blew the guy's arms under, that's what happened, and he flies backwards screaming. The man went to panic and he went to stab Inko, but Deku used almighty pull to drag the knife towards him. Bakugo, seeing his aunt nearly get murdered, he's pissed, and before Deku can react, Bakugo flies past him and launching an explosion at this villain. But he seems to have like a self-enhancement quirk. He blocked Bakugo's explosion with little burns and begins to choke Bakugo. Deku says in a very dark, evil voice, saying, "Drop him." The man says, "Why would I drop him? You're just a br-." He looks into Deku's eyes, and unknown to Deku, he places him under genjutsu, like Tsukiyomi, where he was tortured for 1,000 years. He drops Bakugo screaming, "I'm sorry, I'll leave. No, call the police before he kills me." Inko's confused. Her son didn't do anything to him. But the look she saw on Deku's face was like something he's never seen before. Deku hunted with the Tentos inside him, screaming due to Deku's rage. Deku's skin returns to that similar colour, and a true secret orb appears next to him, creating a staff. Deku launches it at this robber, and it impales his stomach, and he attempts to go stab him, but Inko gets in the way just in time. Deku stops it, but he still lands a little cut on his mother's face, and he jumps back screaming, saying, I'm sorry. He rushes over and heals his mother's face. He didn't even know he could heal people, but he wanted to heal her, so he did. He says, "It's fine, Izuku, but with your power, sometimes you need to learn to hold it back." Deku looks up, and his skin's returning back to normal, and he sees what he did to one robber. Justified. He was trying to kill Bakugo, and he sees the other one with a hole in his stomach. He says, "Yeah, I guess." The police show up, and after questioning them, they congratulate Deku, saying, "Your quirk must be amazing, and you protected your mother. These robbers were known to break into the house, and then we don't want to sugarcoat it. They were known to torture and kill their victims." Hearing this made Deku's blood boil, and one of the villains that were in the police car, half of his body burst into flames, the one that Deku stabbed in the stomach. Deku didn't mean to do this, it was just pure rage, and he makes the flame disappear. He takes a deep breath, and the police rush in, saying, "He must have been trying to escape. That's an extra charge. You're going to prison for a long, long time." And this Deku smirks. So this is what it feels like to be a hero, to serve justice. He likes it. We now go to Deku's last day of the academy. And of course, they say, "Oh, no, and 2 more planted UAs, Deku and Bakugo." Izuku and Bakugo. They both spot each other, sitting next to each other, and Bakugo says, "Damn right, you extras, only me and Deku are getting to the UA." And the entire class goes, "Deku 100%, we don't know about you, Bakugo. You got a dirty attitude." If you're wondering why they spoke to him like this, Bakugo isn't really a bully, no one's really scared of him, they just know he can scrap. He's more friendly with everyone than anything. Getting called an extra by Bakugo was a compliment, and he goes, "What?" and he launches an explosion, they all start laughing. Deku holds Bakugo down saying, "Relax, relax," and he calms down. We now go to Deku and Bakugo, who are walking home, and they both take a shortcut, just for Deku to get attacked by a slime villain. It wraps all around Deku's body, but Deku is not panicking. He's surveying the situation with his Rinnegan activated. Bakugo launches into a massive explosion, blowing half the villain off Deku, allowing him to create a fireball in his hand, burning up the rest of him. The slime villain then launches at Bakugo. Deku gets in the way and using Almighty Push blasts it back, and he begins laughing, saying, "That's really all you got?" By that this time, All Might showed up and landed the finishing blow. He says, "Thank you, but you shouldn't have used your quirks." And Deku explained how the slime villain attacked him, and he says, "Oh, well, good on you, young man, for protecting your friends." He says it to both Bakugo and Deku. But both being All Might fanboys, when All Might went to jump away, they both grabbed onto him because All Might didn't give him an autograph. And when he realised that there's two people on him, he goes, "Oh, damn it," and he lands. They begin asking for an autograph, and to speed up the process, he gives him the autograph, and Deku didn't have a single question for him. Instead, All Might, he gives them autographs and attempts to jump away, but before he can jump, All Might begins to puff away in smoke, and his skinny form's revealed. Both Bakugo and Deku jump back. An imposter! Bakugo, being hot-headed, launches at All Might just for Deku to catch him. Although he doesn't look the same, Deku could sense his energy. That is the same All Might. He says, "It's the same All Might, I just have a feeling." All Might then explains to Deku and Bakugo about blah blah blah, about his injury and all that, and Deku asks to see it. All Might shows it off, and Deku walks towards it saying, I can heal with my quirk a little bit, let me try." All Might says, "You're free to, but even after thousands of the top healers trying to, they couldn't fix it." Deku places his hand on All Might's injury and begins healing it. It's very slow, but it's working. Almost like, "Incredible, are you sure your quirk isn't healing?" Deku says, "No, my quirk is called Six Pass." Because, I don't know, that's the easiest name I could think of, sorry. Deku begins experimenting with the energy he uses to activate his fire. That's the only ability he can use right now, by the way. With Deku using that ability to activate his energy he uses to activate his fire, he begins using that to heal instead, and the process gets sped up a lot. This is the second time Deku's used chakra in a way, and All Might's injury is half healed. That's when the explosion appears. All Might says, "You two stay here, we need to talk." But he realises it. They've jumped off to help people before even he did. Bakugo flying with explosion, and Deku just flying. Yes, Deku can fly. They finally get to the scene. They realise, wait a minute, that's the villain we just fought. They both realise that them jumping onto All Might's legs caused this. They caused these Innocent's life to be endangered. And they look up. Wait a minute. Isn't that Endeavor's son? We go to Todoroki. He's now stuck in the slime villain. He's trying to use his quirk, but it isn't working. Because he was caught by surprise. He's nearly unconscious now. Unlike Bakugo, who was managed to fire off a bit, he's completely stuck and mainly relying on ice, which isn't really affecting the the slime villain that much. Deku and Bakugo, seeing this, rush past the heroes who weren't doing anything, and as they're trying to stop him, they don't listen. Bakugo very carefully blew up the bottom of it, so that the slime villain had less to bear on, and he recognised the two of them. No, not them two. They're even more terrifying than All Might. And Deku, using Almighty Pull, pulls Todoroki out of him. And then seeing that there's a bunch of slime still stuck inside his lungs, uses Almighty Pull very carefully to extract the slime. The slime villain then attempts to run away, but Deku ain't letting him. He activates his 10 toes energy, and using one of his true seeking orbs makes it spiral out in all directions, wrapping up the slime villain. Then he drags it towards him. Deku, holding his face, begins accidentally absorbing his energy, his soul. This is the ability of the Rinnegan. I'm gonna say, instead of killing him, Deku begins absorbing his energy. And it's weird. He can't turn into slime, but he can create it. he activated a slime nature release. If you're wondering, yes, I pulled that out of my ass. But this is how I'm going to make Deku overpowered. He feels like this weird energy aligns with his chakra. And he says, wait a minute, every time I end up absorbing something, I can use it in different ways. And he looks at Bakugo and says, later you're launching explosions at me. All Might arrives just in time. For him not even needing to blow away the slime villain, it's now knocked unconscious with most of its energy being absorbed out of him by Deku and wrapped up, restrained with something that he'll never be able to break. All Might grabbed onto the restraints, intending to snap them in half, realizing even he can't. And he says, that boy, he needs to be my successor. He's talking about Deku, by the way. But after it was all dealt with, All Might asked to speak to Baki and Deku, jumping him up to a building. And he explains about his quirk and all that, and he asks Deku to be his successor. Hearing this, Bakugo frowns a bit, saying, of course Deku's gonna get it. And Deku immediately says, no thank you. All Might says, what, why? He says, because I'm powerful enough as it is, and I like my own power, I don't want to take it from someone else. If you ask me, fanboy number 1 over here should get your quirk. And All Might says, I guess he does know about my quirk. He has a very useful explosion quirk that will only get powered up by one for all. And he rushed in without even a second thinking. Alright, young Bakugo, would you like to be my successor? Hearing this, Bakugo's eyes light up and he immediately agrees, taking on the quirk. And they both begin their training for UA. Other than that, guys, I hope you did enjoy. If you did, share with your friends, family, like, subscribe, comment down below, check out my thumbnail artist, follow me on Instagram, add me on Snapchat, anything you think you can do, you do. Get me to 20k subscribers, we are so close. Other than that, guys, I will see you in a little bit. Peace out, bye. Oh my god, you heard me click, I hope. That was on the pause button and it didn't work.